It's been a heavy week. So after we update you on the latest on the confirmation debate on Capitol Hill and truth test some claims about how much support a congressman has received from the gun lobby, let's take a break from it all. Let's visit with a legend in Colorado's dance community and chat about the final time she'll dance a routine she's done for decades. Then we'll listen to your good news like we do each week. And after an emotional week full of raw and heartbreaking testimony, let's take a breath and soak in a moment of zen in the state we all love. Next. Late this afternoon, the president ordered the FBI to conduct a limited investigation into Judge Brett Kavanaugh. That decision comes after Republican leaders in the U.S. Senate agreed to delay a vote on Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court for a week from today to have more time to investigate allegations of sexual misconduct. The move was prompted by outgoing Republican Senator Jeff Flake, who is one of 3 Republicans undecided on that nomination. Now, yesterday's testimony by Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, one of Kavanaugh's accusers, prompted a surge in calls to sexual assault hotlines. The national hotline says it saw more than 200% increase in calls yesterday. Today, the group that oversees it posted that it was even seeing unprecedented wait times for online chat services. So more people were also reaching out for help locally. The Blue Bench says it got double the amount of calls yesterday that it usually does, and there are some victims who've been outspoken in the past, not saying much because they feel sexual assault has become politicized.
It's what's happened to them personally, and that getting pulled into this this big, you know, in some ways, fight just doesn't feel like the way they would want to be involved in the conversation.
Now, the Blue Bench says it's still worth it for people to tell their stories, but no one should ever be forced to until they're ready. Well, getting an A is always something you wanted to achieve in class, yet getting an A is the basis of a political attack ad against Congressman Mike Coffman for getting an A grade from the NRA. Our politics guy, Marshall Zellinger, is here with the latest truth test of another ad that doesn't quite get a passing grade, Marshall.
Steve, let's start with F. For facts. This is the image that starts the new ad. It shows the Aurora Theater. It's from an overnight special report when the shooting had just happened, when the death toll was thought to be at least 14. That was quickly updated, and we all know 12 people were killed, 58 injured. Gifford's Pack, Colorado does not need you using misinformation that was corrected shortly after it was shown in the first place.
He's accepted more money from the NRA than any other member of Congress from Colorado.
Yes, this is true. Since 2007-2008, when Coffman ran for Congress, his congressional campaign has received $41,650 directly from the National Rifle Association Political Action Committee. Scott Tipton has received half as much, followed by Ken Buck, then Doug Lamborn. Senator Cory Gardner has received almost $6,000 from the NRA PAC. These dollar amounts are specific to the NRA and not other gun rights groups. None of Colorado's Democratic members of Congress have received NRA money.
When it comes to background checks that stop criminals and the severely mentally ill from buying guns, he voted to weaken them.
This statement is misleading. Yes, Coffman did vote to repeal a gun background check rule that had not taken effect yet. The rule would have required the Social Security Administration to notify the National Background Check System about people who receive benefits because of a mental impairment. However, Coffman's vote was to repeal the rule before it even took effect. His vote did not change any law that currently restricts those with mental illness from buying a gun when going through a background check. There's another vote here in that super fine print that ads love to do so much about weakened background checks. No, Coffman and the rest of the House were discussing a non-gun related bill when some lawmakers wanted to add an amendment that would force a discussion on a background check bill as soon as they were done. Coffman voted to continue the discussion on the non-gun related bill. He did not vote against strengthening background checks. And Steve, the group that might fight back for Coffman from Washington, D.C., the Congressional Leadership Fund announced today they're backing out of political ads for him in Colorado.
Wow, it's like something developing with this group every day. All right, Marshall, thank you. The DMV's computer system is a well-known hot mess, but let's not blame that today. Sure, DMV computers were down in pockets throughout the state today, but it had nothing to do with the system. Instead, it had to do with construction. Workers here cut a CenturyLink fiber line near 6th and Broadway, thus making computers go cattywampus around the metro area. CenturyLink says they are working to fix it right now. Colorado's race for Secretary of State, who oversees elections, pits the Republican incumbent, Wayne Williams, a veteran of GOP politics, with Democrat Jena Griswold, an attorney who is running for office for the first time. You'll hear from both of them today and on Monday. Kyle sat down with Williams this week.
It seems to me like so much of the work of the Secretary of State is administrative as opposed to partisan or ideological. So is there any reason why Coloradans are better served with a Republican in that office than a Democrat?
I think the actual issue you want to look at is what that individual has done and what their record is in terms of elections, business filings, in terms of managing an office and 130 employees and the processes that are there. That's what I've focused on in this campaign. I'm honored that I've got support from Republicans, unaffiliates, Democrats. The majority of actually clerk and recorders who are Democrats have endorsed me, despite the fact I happen to be a Republican. And that's because I've run the office in a nonpartisan and fair way and done it in a way that makes it easy for Coloradans to participate in the process. We have, this is National Voter Registration Day. We have the highest percentage of registered voters of any state in America right here in Colorado.
All right, you've been able to brag on your accomplishments. Now let's return to my question. Is there any reason why Coloradans are better served by having a Republican in this office than a Democrat?
I think that, as I said, the main difference is the experience the respective candidates have.
Do you have concerns about your opponent, Jena Griswold's ability to do the job as Secretary of State, or are you simply making the argument that I have the experience and I can do it better?
I have concerns.
So Kyle put his criticisms to the Democrat opponent, Jena Griswold.
Colorado's Secretary of State runs elections. Is it an issue you've never run an election before?
Well, I've worked on various elections, right? So I've worked on various elections. I know how elections work.
Is it an issue that you've never run an office the size of the Secretary of State's operation?
Well, you know, previous to having my own practice, I started my career at practicing international anti-corruption law. And then I actually ran the D.C. office for Governor Hickenlooper and fought for Colorado's interests.
How many people were in that office?
It was just me.
Okay.
But I was running the federal portfolio, working with a lot of folks, and I fought for our interests.
So on Monday, we will hear Griswold make her case, hear her criticism of Williams, and then press Williams on her criticism. It barely got into the 50s today, but we're in for a warm-up this weekend. Danielle's in with your forecast. And a few thoughts after a long week. I have an idea I think everyone should embrace this weekend, followed by a little moment of zen. Next.
Don't take your health for granted. Get in-depth medical information that your doctor can trust at a fraction of the price. No appointment needed. Choose from new screenings including heart health and blood type. Own your health. Find your fair at 9healthfair.org.
I identify as Panamanian and African American, but at the end of the day, I'm just human.
I identify as the Latina Asian.
I identify as Puerto Rican and Mexican.
I identify as a Chicana.
I identify as Mexican American.
I identify as Colombian American.
I identify myself as Honduran.
I identify as Mexican American.
And I identify as Salvadorian.
I identify as Colombian Palestinian.
I identify as Chicana.
At the end of the day.
But at the end of the day.
I am just human.
Here in Colorado, I like to think that all roads lead to adventure. And I'm not just talking about skiing and snowboarding and hiking. For some people, adventure, it's all up here. It's the big ideas that we create. And I love being a part of it. I love telling the stories of people who see the world differently. Colorado's changing the world, one invention, one app, one beautiful new restaurant at a time. You really can't look away. Examples that we're setting right here in Colorado, they're filled with a beautiful tenacity.
It's 3 p.m. For 50 million kids across America, school's out. And for a third of these kids, they're out on their own. Out with nowhere to go and nothing to do. But every afternoon is a chance to change America's future. All you have to do is open the door. It's time to support the Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Team Challenge is the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's endurance training and fundraising program. When you join, you'll help fund cures for Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. With our half-marathon training program, you'll train with experienced coaches for over 16 weeks to run or walk a half marathon at an exciting destination race, including Chicago, Napa, Nashville, Lisbon, Las Vegas, and others. Choose your challenge. Teams forming now.
There have been some frightening things in the news lately. Check in with your family and friends. If you or someone you know needs mental health support or emotional help, it's available right this second. Call or text Colorado Crisis Services.
Being out in the community, meeting people who you would have never met otherwise, and suddenly you're getting story ideas to tell more things about Colorado that people don't know about. That's really amazing.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Strap in and hold on tight. The all-new Quest Network is here. Enter the worlds of our compelling characters. Join in on amazing adventures. Witness man's most stunning conquests. And be prepared to be inspired and entertained. The best new channel on television is now on 9.5. Quest, let's explore.
What a difference a day makes, right? Were you searching for that sweatshirt, maybe a winter coat early this morning? 30 degrees cooler from yesterday. Can you believe it? Yesterday we hit 80 degrees, only 50 this afternoon, and still the cloudy skies hugging tightly to the Flatirons in the Boulder area. You really had to go up high, about 12,000 feet, to see some blue sky and sunshine. Bill Linfield capturing this gorgeous shot, 60 degrees out there at Pass Lake. Tonight we'll be watching our temperatures cooling into the mid-40s, partly cloudy skies. The winds, though, still cranking out of the east-northeast, 10 to 20 miles per hour. That cold front that swept through early this morning now packing its bags, pushing off to the east, making way for high pressure. This will be a game changer for this weekend as we're looking at temperatures soaring back into the mid to upper 80s around here. 87 on tap tomorrow afternoon, plenty of sunshine. Our record 92 last set back in 1892. I don't think we'll get there, but man, will it be a toasty one, especially compared to today. Back to the upper 80s near Sterling and Yuma, 60s and 70s up in the high country, and about 87 in Grand Junction too. The only caveat to this forecast is the potential for seeing some high fire danger everywhere you see in pink under that red flag warning throughout much of the day. Tomorrow, wind gusts as high as 35 miles per hour, and humidity value is going to be fairly low. So this weekend, a warm one. We really won't be watching for a cool off until later next week, when we'll have a better shot at seeing some showers courtesy of Hurricane Rosa that will be pushing into the U.S. Steve, I know you're already embracing the fall season. Saw you sipping on a PSL this morning.
Yeah, and had the brawny paper towel shirt on. Gotta love that.
You were looking good.
Thanks, Danielle. The sky over Colorado this morning really reflected a bit about our mood as we end this week. It's been blue and sunny all week. Then today, the sky was suddenly gray and sullen, a bit like Facebook and Twitter are today, overcast and moody. No matter how you feel about what happened yesterday, what's happening today, and what will likely last into next week, no matter where you fall on the issues, I think we all could agree there's an awful lot of anger out there right now, quite a bit of emotion. I'm not saying there shouldn't be. People should be engaged in what's going on in their country. It's one of the facets of our democracy that makes it so great. What America just witnessed was one of the most emotional things ever to overtake Capitol Hill. But as this week ends, perhaps it gives us an opportunity to take a deep breath. Weekends are intended to be days of rest, a chance to recharge, time to shut off the phone, switch off the TV, enjoy the company of family and friends, experience life and nature. That can be remarkably therapeutic, and I think all of us could use a bit of therapy after the week this country has had. So I urge you, take this weekend, take a break from the storylines in our world right now, from the anger, from the emotion. Then maybe, as we enter a new week with those same difficult storylines, we can all enter Monday with a clearer mind, and maybe the sky won't be so gray. As for TV, we decided you deserve a break. So instead of focusing on politics or sexual assault or arguments, we sent our Byron Reed to the mountains with his camera, and one instruction: capture a moment of peace. Woman who has redefined the dance world in Denver dances one of her most famous routines for the final time tonight in the Barrel House Blues. But she wants the tradition to continue.
I want it to live on and on and on.
The most Colorado thing we saw today involves a whole bunch of pirates. And your good news to end the week.
My little brother just started college.
Next.
We bring the thunder. Bronco fans are the best.
This is Bronco country.
Got the best fans. Broncos fans will always stay loyal.
Denver till we die.
Broncos, Chiefs, Monday on Channel 20.
It's almost like a religion of thought.
Leave shadows on the clouds.
Look to the heavens, lines in the sky that captivate conspiracy theorists. Chemtrails, followers convinced something evil and secret is going on.
I can hear you now. Why are we wasting time on this? Social media has become fertilizer for this conspiracy. Recent surveys indicate 1 in 5 Americans believe in this theory. So I could see a line in the sky.
Yes,
right
2 of them.
right now.
They do tend to put them in front of the sun, which makes sense if they're trying to block sunlight.
What do you think is going on up there?
Well, what they say is that this is sort of a desperate measure to counteract global warming.
Zadnik is quick to say he doesn't trust the government. Can you blame the guy? After all, our government doesn't really have the greatest track record when it comes to telling the truth. Agent Orange, the Tuskegee syphilis study, the human plutonium injection experiments. I can go on and on. That's the government. But what about science? What is that white line in the sky behind a plane?
Well, the white line behind a jet is a natural process that goes on with the relationship between the aerodynamics of the aircraft and the atmosphere.
They won't even say that word. Scientifically, they're called condensation trails. Contrails for short.
So what you're really doing is you're sort of artificially generating a cloud.
So what we see up there is not the government intentionally putting chemicals into the sky for geoengineering.
No.
There's no accepted scientific evidence whatsoever that proves a covert program is real. Based on our highly credible experts and scientific approach to chemtrails, we can verify the chemtrail conspiracy is false.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny'd been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Justice is here. If you haven't tuned in to the Justice Network, then you're missing a program lineup dedicated to stories of true crime and investigation.
No one vanishes without a trace.
Quality series rich in suspense, mystery, and intrigue.
Put your hands above your head! Back up!
Plus a public safety initiative to make your community safer.
Join me, John Walsh, on the all-new Justice Network.
When a dancer gives up a part she or he has called their own, it's definitely a big deal. Nationally known dancer and choreographer Cleo Parker Robinson is passing down one of her signature roles tonight after decades of dancing it. So Ann Herbst talked with her today and asked the 70-year-old Denver icon if retirement is in her future.
Dance is a way of life.
To be able to dance is a gift.
That's us.
One that Cleo Parker Robinson has been giving to Denver and the world for decades.
I have an academy, an international company, and an outreach program now for 48 years.
And for almost half that time, she's made one dance her own.
Well, the role is about an older woman looking for an adventure, and she sees a young man. He's much younger.
That dance, Barrel House Blues, was passed down to her by her mentor.
And I'm here with her.
Katherine Dunham.
She passed it on when she was in a wheelchair to me. And I mean, she would do the shimmy. She'd sit in that chair and she'd say, "Go on, sister." And I'm dancing tonight. I'll be dancing the role that Katherine Dunham danced. She gave me the role that she did in 1938. And I will be dancing it probably for the last time.
Cleo is ready to gift the dance she knows so well.
Happy for sure.
To Chloe Grant Abel, someone who found a mentor in Cleo.
It's
wonderful that she's right here and I don't have to stare at a tape and try to pick up all the details from a tape. I can just be like, Cleo, what are you doing here? What is that?
If I don't pass it on now when I can, and in the way that I can, it might die. But my husband's so funny. He says, well, I said, everybody thinks I'm retiring. He says, well, you're probably close. And I said, close and retired are two different things.
When you're receiving such a huge gift, I mean, it's just your heart. It just gets you right here.
A gift Cleo hopes will keep giving. For next, this is Ann Herbst.
Rhapsody in Black opens tonight at the Newman Center on the DU campus. Parker Robinson will dance the Barrel House Blues in the show tonight and then pass the torch for the performances for the rest of the weekend. The most Colorado thing we saw today, well, it was just a bunch of pirates who summited Pikes Peak. Our producer, Carrie Leary, probably hates me for doing that. Anastasia and her boyfriend finished their quest to summit all 58 of Colorado's 14ers. Pikes Peak was their last climb. Their friends met them at the top with the 14er finisher medals. And Anastasia says climbing all of the 14ers allowed them to get to know every corner of Colorado and to experience all of the beauty from across the state from above. We'll be back after another well-deserved moment of zen.
The Broncos Huddle. Wednesday nights at 6:30 on 9 News.
If life was like a t-shirt,
you'll want to just wipe it so you can get a clean start.
The one for David Wyatt would be made out of 100% guilt.
I could be so much further in life right now if I didn't let, my addiction to alcohol get the best of me.
His life ended her life.
But apparently I drove drunk to the liquor store to get more liquor, and I wrecked.
He survived. He found his way to a place called Street to Life. They don't just make t-shirts here, they make a difference in the lives of people like Wyatt.
Homelessness, coming off of drug and alcohol addictions, coming out of prison.
I just like things done right.
Starting with a t-shirt that just might say, regret.
Said I want to do everything right. I don't want to make mistakes.
On July 20th, 2012, my family's life changed forever.
My brother was one of 12 lives lost.
We share stories of loss, recovery, and the need for something positive.
The 720 Memorial Foundation is turning this into a garden for our entire community. Join us.
A place for reflection, for finding peace, and for healing.
What's the value of a community blood center? At Bonfils Blood Center, it's providing nearly all of Colorado's blood supply, helping the one of every 7 hospital patients who will need blood, responding to disasters at home and far away. It's research that advances blood transfusion medicine, going the extra mile to meet the need, and knowing that a life-saving blood supply will always be there for our community. For more than 70 years, that's been the value of Bonfils Blood Center.
It's Friday, so we're ending the week like we always do, with your good news.
My good news?
My good news today is that
my good news is I'm with Nina,
who a month ago couldn't ride a bike. And she is now crushing it on the trail. We've already gone about 2 miles.
They started working with me, and my neighbors, they also started working with me, helping me and teaching me how to ride a bike. Funny thing is that they are both younger than me.
My little brother just started college. Troy, if you're watching, he just did well on his first test. That's some good news, I guess. My good news is that it is a beautiful day.
Beautiful weather with our dogs, riding bikes. They love it. They love like the wind in their face. We're just going to the store, so we'll get some groceries and head back home.
We met here before lunch and like came back for lunch because like, oh, okay, there's food at Starbucks, so we at least know that. Parking, free parking for 2 hours. That's the good news. The city provided a chance for me to meet my brother-in-law for lunch. We ended up in this state from like different hemispheres, and I love that I can have something to eat, something to drink with my brother-in-law on a beautiful fall afternoon.
That I've been lying down right here about an hour now before I should get back to work. Taking my lunch break.
Your feedback on this Friday. Lynn from Durango says, we need some Zen this week after the sad and hateful hearing this week. Thank you for sanity. And Shelley says, bless you. The moment of Zen, very much appreciated. It's a nice change, and no one can say that the beauty of Colorado is fake news. So you know what? Let's leave you, and we'll see you next time. But here's a moment of Zen.